Okay. Welcome to another Lorecast, Selectives Lorecast, a casual Elder Scrolls Lorecast, where we are consistently sick, tired, drunk, or stoned. I am Chris Franzen, also known as Mojo. With me today are...
I'm Corey. I have many names, but we're going to use this one today.
I'm Justin, also known as Neradak and Vorin on Reddit.
I am Luther, also known as Darcius.
I'm Nathan, and also known as Mr. Flippers.
I'm Putnam. That's what I am.
All right, well, today our topic is Numidium with a splash of Landfall on top.
Big splash.
Well, moderately speaking.
Depends.
It depends on which context you want to take that in. Oh crap, I got a phone call. Sorry. So to get the ball rolling, who wants to give us a primer on Numidium and his role in the Mundus?
He's a big robot who hates everything.
Fucking A.
Well, the Dwemer are all about denying reality.
Ninth reality?
Sorry?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Whichever ordinal you want to attach to it.
The Dwemer wanted to deny reality, and so they built Numidium, as far as we know, to try and break it down. And, yeah.
Yeah, it's
The world refusal.
there is we'll link it in the description. Final report to Trebonius, thank you. Where it's a lore essay, a very well detailed lore essay detailing the many quotes and references of the Dwemer and Numidium, and their practice of tonal architecture, as well as their beliefs in the Arbus, what they really knew about it, and their utter denial of it. Luckily we did the Chim cast, so there you guys should have a primer. If not, go back and watch it. They had, from what we can see, is that they figured out the true nature of the Arbus as a dream, and another explanation is just that they couldn't stand the fact that they were subgradiated so far from the divine, as well as a mixture of the both. That they denied that so fiercely that they would rather remove themselves from the world than be a part of that fact. This delusion that there's a sense of individuality. They couldn't. Well, I guess I can't say that, but I think it'd be more of an opinion that they refuse to believe in any kind of chim state or see the purpose in it. Maybe they might not have saw a point to it, so they would rather deny themselves out of existence or become a new. In the love letter, it actually describes Numidium as a failed attempt at the final subgradient, which they might have just been trying to remove themselves from the entire status quo of the Arbus, become their own self-sufficient entity and universe, possibly. Justin, did you have something?
Yeah, I was going to say that MK referred to, what the Dwemer believed in as heroic abrogation of everything.
Yeah, there was. Let me see if I can find a quote, unless you have one relevant already.
If you want, I can just go through a quick brief history of Numidium.
It's not funny they also made Numidium an image of the Amaranth.
An image?
Well, Anu.
Oh.
Not necessarily image, but you know.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
And if the final subgradient is it Amaranth?
It is Anu, yeah.
Yes.
They could have been trying to usurp Anu, couldn't they?
I don't know about that.
Well,
Random.
another name for Numidium is Anumidium, which you could take as a new medium, or even just the Anu part. That always like stuck out to me in a way, and which could still mean a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily have to mean they're copying him. It could just be, I don't know, like almost like a middle finger. Like I'm going to take your name and actually do something with it.
Well, I don't want to bring up Coda so early, but I remember Warden pointed out that Jubal talked to the Numidium as if it was Anu.
Oh, really?
Huh.
As if it was what?
Cool.
Anu.
Oh.
Wow.
I shouldn't have brought this up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
That
that's
could open up a whole Coda can of worms that might actually be best saved for the actual Coda cast.
Yeah.
Because I could see that really going on.
yeah.
That's
I
a
don't know,
good
he's spelled-
question, Justin. That's type that shit down and save that. Yeah, that's a really interesting thought. You know, especially too, we were discussing before we started broadcasting the possibility. Well, okay, of looking at Numidium and Akulikon, and since we're talking now about it being Anu, which is stasis, we were talking the exact opposite. So I think we should bring this up. We were discussing that Numidium is denial of existence. It's like death erasure. And you compare it to Akulikon, who is it's the blight machine. It's spreading this divine disease to
Homogenize everyone, really.
yeah, really. Create almost like a hive mind single entity,
and thus create peace.
divine, immortal, stagnant, static, which is very Anuic to Numidium. Go ahead.
Like a perversion of the calling, yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Because even Vivek called out, I think, like the Dwemer as the Blighters.
What?
I don't remember
Like somewhere in
that.
the lessons.
Blighters?
Well, not Blighters, or something related to it. Hold on.
Okay. I don't know. I see the difference between Numidium and a Akulikon, as in a Numidium's thing is it's destroying everything and saying, nah, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you all, I'm done, fuck it. And just saying, go away, I don't want any of this.
Yeah.
Whereas a Akulikon is the opposite and saying it's including, it wants everybody in together. Because it wants everybody in, as in one with Dagothur and that whole deal.
Well, I mean, the Numidium is soul stacked nihilism, so, I mean, it's like nihilism to the nth degree. It's mega nihilism.
We should actually talk about that. The creation of Numidium, which is only vaguely referenced in certain bits, and you have to do a lot of you have to connect some dots to get a bearing on the creation of Numidium and the mystery of the disappearance of the Dwemer, which the final report really touches on. So seriously, either pause this podcast or read it afterwards. I'm not fucking around.
Well, let's start from the top.
Yeah, it's.
So I guess
Should we just do a quick run over of the history of Numidium, or just the beginning of it?
We
I
should
guess
try
we'll
and
do
talk
Battle
about
Red
what.
Mountain.
The Dwemer had found the heart of Lorecon. That, I think, is crucial to anything Numidium.
And common knowledge.
Right. They had found the heart, and so Kagranek and the architects devised the tools to tap into the heart's power. Wraithguard, Sunder, and Keening.
Including Yagrum Bagan.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll talk about him in a little bit, but so they tapped into the heart, and they had experimented. As anyone who's played the games and has stumbled across a Dwemer dungeon, you fought some form of animunculi. Whether it's the spiders, centurions, etc. And I can't remember who was the guy that talked. His name starts with a B, I believe, from Marwyn. Explains the Dwemer tampering with souls to create these golems. I think so. Yeah, I think so, Nerdek. Yeah. They experimented with shattering of souls, and through the shattering and annealing of their souls, they were able to recombine them into a new form, which has been speculated to be the skin. It's not really important which way it is or the other, but these animunculi were, I guess you could say, experiments towards a larger endeavor.
Actually, yeah.
Which would be Numidium.
I hadn't thought about that.
Artwork about the Scheme Centurions that actually has mini Numidium written next to it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
What?
In reference to earlier, by the way, in Sermon 36, Vivek calls Kagranak the Blighter and the Blight of the Dwemer, somewhere in there.
Good catch.
What was the mini Numidium deal?
I think
there's a concept art for Scheme Centurions that has mini Numidium written next to it.
Oh.
Wow.
Weird.
Cool.
So, all of the mechs in the games are technically the reason they're brass is because of the souls that are like bound to them.
Apparently.
Well,
Dwemer metal.
it's hard to say just because this might just be a gameplay thing. I don't know, but
It could be.
Because with I know it's the case in both Skyrim and Morrowind that not every Centurion or Animunculi drops a soul gem. I know it's common for them to do so, but not all of them do. And
Well, yeah.
If I recall in Morrowind, they don't drop soul gems at all.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Dwarven materials are brass in general. The brass isn't gold. Numidium has a golden skin, which is not quite brass.
And yet it's called the Brass Tower.
It is the Brass Tower because I guess it was made of brass, but its skin is golden.
Okay. Yeah, and that's because of all the Dwemer souls bound to it, basically. But so apparently what Kagranak did was he bound all the souls, or all Dwemer souls, to the Numidium. And then during the Battle of Red Mountain, I guess he used a heart to transfer all the souls to Numidium, you think, and then it formed the skin. Yeah, but it couldn't activate itself because he did it wrong. He did it in a hurry. That's my suspicion. I think that Numidium was they screwed up somewhere in the process.
It's always hard to say exactly what happened because at the one point it's like it can't activate itself and it does have some flaws, but at the other time there is I think Sermon 36 talks about Numidium actually working out well and running off, going wild at Red Mountain, and Armsavi had to join together into one actual being.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. They fusion hard. They Mighty Morphin Power Rangered themselves into one entity. But the question is, how true is that? How much was Vivek just saying, "Oh, we totally did that because we're cool,"
It's multiple times in the sermons. Well, maybe I don't know how many times, but Vivek. It said the aspect of Sivi that was Vivek. There's little things like that imply that they are the Sivi is the godhead of of IM set in Vec.
There's supposed to be one entity. Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that. Now I'm seeing the actual entity.
Yeah, and where is it?
Which I could get into a whole thing there, but we're talking about Numidium, not Alcivi. So.
Yeah, and each of the aspects of the Alcivi then rose up together, combining as one, and showed the world the sixth path, which is...
The Amaranth.
No, that's...
No.
Oh, that's right, the Scarab from the New Man.
That's,
it's one of the walking ways, which...
Yeah, the sixth one, I think, is either Soul Combination or a Numidium.
Yep.
Oh.
Because that sixth one is the forbidden walking path.
The soul stacking path?
Yeah.
The soul stacking?
I didn't know that. Yeah, soul stacking.
And there's something to be said about Numidium and Alcivi both being the result of the same walking way. I don't know. I think it's very significant. I don't know how to word it. I can't get it out. But
I think Civi was more than just the Numidium walking way, the soul stacking. I think it also had to do with the enantiomorph too, because each of them represented one of the three fighter mage, thief, sort of dyad, triad, whatever.
Well, especially with the fact that Alondra Soul was
the observer,
either blinded
or no,
or maimed or killed. Depending
really
on the
weird.
account.
Yeah, the weird thing with that is how I think it was called Foul Murder, MK's illustration of Red Mountain, where Nerevar, he's got the face off, his feet are gone, all that stuff. And we see, Sophisil with the face and everything, and there is that one dead person in the ground without a face, like their head's in the ground, and I think at first thought it was like that could be Alondra Soul, maybe, I don't know, because he was, as we know, blinded after that happened. But MK himself straight up said that was Boron Dagoth in the dirt.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's hard to gauge who is the observer out of that, yeah. And where Kagranak or Dew Malakath fits in that. Oh, and Nerevar. No.
Oh, Battle of Red Mountain's so fucking hard to get your head around.
Yeah.
Which I think it's supposed to be that way. I mean, it's a dragon break.
Well, yeah, there's like 5 different things happening at once in the battle.
When it's something set in Morrowind, and then there's a Nord riding in on a gigantic battle cat, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of dragon breaks, because I think the Numidium rends time and space in a lot of ways, and the first time we see this is in Daggerfall. And spoilers.
Well,
those kind of play the game.
Spoilers unless you ever read in-game books or.
Yeah, where were you in the Dragon Broke?
Where were you? Wait, no. Where were you in the Warp in the West? Where were you when the Dragon Broke? Is about the first era Dragon Break.
Oh, that's right.
It was
that was about the Elysian or the Marukati dancing in the tower.
Yeah. Anyway, so in Daggerfall is when we first encounter the Numidium and the whole concept of the Dragon Break.
Every time Numidium has been activated, there has been a Dragon Break. First was Red Mountain, second was the Hall of the Colossus in Elsewhere, and the third is the Warp in the West.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a quote MK had posted. It's not the brass god that wrecks everything so much as it is all the planets
thank you.
And timelines that orbit it singing world refusals.
Orbited.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, which this is more of a coda thing than probably for this cast, but the timelines part, I can't help but thinking about like Coda as a meta platform for like orbiting stories and headcanons, I guess. I don't know.
Well, like the Numidium is supposed to be able to split itself, right? So when it's active, it splits its timeline and it becomes multiple instances of itself.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, so those could be the timelines that he's referring to, orbiting itself. But I don't know what the planets are.
1 second.
The actual Adra observable.
Yeah, the Adra.
And the sky.
Why would the Numidium be able to hook the Adra and cause it to orbit himself instead of Urn?
About the timelines and planets orbiting it, in the artwork for Coda about the Numidium, there are 12 orbs surrounding him.
Oh. I would love to see that artwork.
They turn into these awesome spikes, too. Like they,
referring to the 12 orbs.
I'll find it later.
There are 12 orbs, you said?
Yeah. I think 12 Worlds of Creation, Anu.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Which is technically...
I was thinking the Adra.
What?
Yeah, they don't make up 12.
Nope.
Yeah, actually, just to finish that quote off, because Luther, I think you said it, about the with the different timelines and it able to copy itself through different timelines. The rest of that quote that I had was, the surrender of Eleanor happened in 1 hour, but Numidium's siege lasted from the Mythic era until long into the 5th. Some mirror logicians of the Altmer fight it still in chrysalis shells that phase in and out of Tamrielic Prime, and their brethren know nothing of their purpose unless they stare along and break their own possipoints. If Numidium was fighting from the Mythic era or the Dawn area, tongue twisted, into the 5th era, yet we've seen it at least twice.
Yeah.
In Daggerfall and The Warp in the West. Wait, that's the same game. When Tiber activated it, sorry.
Yeah.
And it's still in Eleanor. That's I just thought that quote was relevant to kind of support that statement.
That is interesting because, like, what is it? It goes to Alinor, it conquers Alinor, but the Mirror Logicians trap it inside of Draco Chrysalis. And then they fight it, like, for an infinite amount of time, pretty much, or a really long time. And then I guess the Thalmor succeed in what they're trying to do. I don't know what happens, but somehow the Numidium gets out of the Draco Chrysalis, goes back in time to the Warp in the West, and becomes Numidium there. I don't know.
What? No.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about that last part.
I don't know about the last part, but there is a piece.
The whole thing about it being broken out of time meant that, sure, in one timeline it goes to Alinor, and in the other, Tiber just does a clean sweep of Tamriel, thinks all's good. I can't remember how it wound up breaking under him, but eventually the pieces got scattered around in Daggerfall. I can't remember who had them though. Because I remember you had to physically retrieve the pieces, I think, from Daggerfall.
Yeah, in Daggerfall. And that happens after the Alinor invasion, after Tiber Septim basically becomes the Emperor.
Yeah, you have to recover all the pieces of the Numidium as well as the Septum, or the Tiber Septim Scepter.
Yeah, you need the
I suppose one... I guess one instance of...
The Underking had it.
I guess one timeline of the Numidium went to Alinor and got trapped in the Draco Chrysalis, and the other timeline, for some odd reason, deactivated itself? I'm not sure. Because, I mean, it would have to have deactivated itself for it to get ripped apart. It's not going to just...
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Mirror Logicians fighting into the 5th era.
Well, yeah, again, I'm fighting in different quantum states.
In order to control the Numidium, you had to use Tiber Septim's Scepter. So it was like a control...
control rod.
Control rod.
Yeah, so...
You get one of them. You actually get one of them in Skyrim, but only for a little spotted wolf thingy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So one of the endings that didn't happen in the War for the West was that the hero takes control of the Numidium, and then the hero is not powerful enough to
it gets squished.
control it. So the Numidium goes stompy all over Tamriel and destroys it.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I don't think
I'm
they
trying to
took it
remember.
that far. I thought it was they just stopped at that he was dude got squished and.
And then
No, it pretty explicitly states that it goes around rampaging.
What the heck?
I'm just trying to remember
Actually,
whether or not the Underking had anything to do with Numidium being broken down. Because I know he really wanted the Mantella, but I can't remember if he destroyed the Numidium to try and get to it or something.
Well, then you want the Mantella because it had his soul inside of it, or no, it had
that's why I wanted to get
inside of it. Yeah, even though he was technically Zern Arcturus at that part, or Arctus at that point.
Yeah.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, well, at that point, Arctus and Wolfarth, kind of became the same dude.
Yeah, well, same with Iverseptum.
Yeah.
That's a confusing little bit there too. So.
All right. Well, what do we cover now?
Landfall and what we think it might be.
Well, we know what it is.
I don't think we know what it is so much as we know what happens from
That's
it.
when the Numidium comes back.
Yeah, Landfall is Numidium is finished with the Altmer, whether he's bored, tired, or what, I don't know. But he's done with them, and he returns back I believe into the 5th era.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Sorry.
You know, I don't know. It's I know it's been thrown around that like maybe it was that was the start of the 5th era, but I really don't. I don't really know.
It's the late 5th era, isn't it? It says that in the love letter.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What says what in the love letter? What?
Yeah. It's weird to gauge what Landfall what really happens on Landfall, just because all we really know is 1, Numidium comes back, and 2, it does something to the entire planet of Nirn enough for it to become cogs and gears and clouds of fucking math equations, as we see in the Coda picture.
Well, that's the skeleton, isn't that Magnus created originally, was the cogs and gears and all that. That's like the support structure of Nirn. So clearly Numidium just basically removed the upper layer of Nirn from creation.
He removed its flesh.
But Soph still...
Yeah, he's removing its flesh.
Still built on it.
Yeah. It's... when Numidium came back, obviously, it broke time. And probably one of the biggest ways since the Battle of Red Mountain. It seems like the other dragon breaks, excluding the Mercati Selectives, because that's not even really Numidium related. But Numidium related dragon breaks like the Warp in the West, and those all seemed fairly localized. Whereas Battle of Red Mountain really affected, even if it was localized, it spread through cultures through the rest of Tamriel. So it might as well as just affected the whole continent. And Landfall is Numidium's return to break Nirn once and for all. So it definitely affects the entirety of Tamriel, as well as the planet.
Yeah.
We don't know too much about it other than what we've seen in the love letter, which was still fairly vague. there's Landfall Day 1. It's a short comic that's going to be coming out, which we've seen snippets of, and it seems to show a sense of relation with the different races. At least Altmer with the Khajiit. And it seems that it's kind of tense, a tense relationship between them. I know during community discussions that it took a long time for them to actually work together and build the Wonderwear, which is their essentially it's a big ass void ship. So that it's the final escape plan. They're going to escape the planet, and that's where they will go to Masser, and Coda will begin. And the MK implied that the effort and the amount of time it took for all the races to really work together and accomplish this, which is almost. It's hard to believe because you think when you're fucked, like there's no chance if you stay you die, or even worse than that, you get erased. I mean, it's the complete erasure of self. It's not even just mortal death. I would have thought that they would be like right away, like let's team up. But at the same time, there's a lot of racial prejudices.
That's the major thing I've never liked about Coda, is the erasure of everything that we knew in Elder Scrolls lore. I don't know, it bugged me a little bit, but whatever.
I think it was sort of like the love letter was written to prevent that. That's more of a Coda thing.
Yeah, I guess it was sent back, wasn't it? Yeah.
What cataclysm could be more scary than the complete destruction of memory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it's called a love letter, from the Fifth Era, it's a love letter to the past.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a proclamation of love for all that was, despite all of the tragedy and despair that the past is just riddled with. Despite all that, Jubal still loves them, and loves everyone. And which, going into Coda, that's the point. It's not a dream of tragedy. It's a dream of hope and freedom from that really god awful cycle.
You're making me all sad.
Yeah, I try. I try to touch you where it matters.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So,
Go ahead,
Landfall
Justin.
just escaping to Masser.
Say that again?
So Landfall is basically escaping to Masser. In a way.
Well, I think that was that's why they escaped. I mean, I still don't. I think there's probably a lot that happened before that made place, but it's also something to be said that while during Coda, it's the 88th Landfall season. Landfall is still happening, and excuse me. Well, obviously, too, Numidium seems to make planefall on Masser that they cut back and to show gods, heroes, monsters fighting Numidium, and of course Jubal has to fight Numidium. So it's I think Landfall isn't just one thing. It's the entirety of the endpoint of. Well, I don't even know if it's the end point, because I still like to think that universe continues.
Oh, yeah, I suspect.
Man.
Yeah.
So
Just not
Numidium,
Vern.
so that includes that, I imagine.
Yeah.
All that really happens is the dream continues, but Jubal becomes godhead of another dream, of the Akaveri dream, supposedly. I guess we're getting into Coda territory here, but you know.
Yeah. What else can we talk about Landfall? There's really not too much material on it to cover.
Yeah.
No, not enough material.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, so
the Ministry of Truth falling into Morrowind. We'll get that out.
Prophet of Landfall was a thing for a little
Oh,
bit.
Prophet of Landfall. Yeah, forgot about that.
So,
But that was about a bug man who wanted to spread his religion, whatever the hell that was. I never really get into it.
I absolutely love that he cut the comic midway and just stomped him.
no.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but
Nope.
yeah, that's the thing. I guess he was trying to warn everyone about Landfall coming, but then Numidium. No.
Maybe that was it.
No.
It's unclear because I thought he just had a different religious belief, and he just came. I don't even know where he came from. You never meet any bugmen in any of the games.
For some reason, I keep thinking he's an Argonian, like a bug Argonian.
Well, I think
weird.
I don't
interesting.
know, but I think Kirkbride has said we might see the Prophet of Landfall's maybe origin story in Daisire, but
Like vampire guns and shit.
yeah, I'm not too sure if that's what was said.
I think it is.
Okay, cool.
I would like to hear more about Daisire because it's becoming more and more interesting as I hear more things about it.
It's about the Black Amaranth, which is called, I think in the hashtag, an abortion.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I don't know. All I know is that, I shouldn't even talk about that. Okay, never mind.
It's been described as making Coda look like a Disney movie.
Yeah,
Jesus.
He wanted to make it really pretty.
Yeah, so I mean, it's probably going to be pretty
I'm all
dark
for
and
it.
gruesome.
Well, I've heard about the using the protonymics to kill gods. That's kind of frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah, the three good
Three
Daedra will
good
be wiped
Daedra.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, the three good Daedra, the Tribunal is going to be killed. Or, yeah, the three good Daedra. And, but it's just interesting because it seems to be related to tonal architecture, too. So it gives you a little bit more of a hint on what exactly tonal architecture is.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
I always figured tonal architecture was, really related, especially to like the Marukati dancing thing. Except it's more singing than dancing or instrument playing.
I think everything relates to the song in some way. So true names, even a person's true name relates to the song.
It's just somewhat more obvious with tonal architecture and dancing, and dances like you, and shouting and sword singing, and there's a lot of there's a lot of music magic.
And Coda.
And Coda.
Coda is related to music. Yeah. I mean, even memory is related to music in some way, even though it's not really talked about.
And Numidium is just an awful cacophony.
They say Minsing and Murdance.
Or perhaps the rest.
In my personal opinion, memory is everything. Memory is music, so...
Well, we started to stray fairly off topic.
We have.
This has become a Ramblecast.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, it really is.
We could cover the Dwemer a bit in anticipation to Dagothr.
I think that's important to note that why the Dwemer built the what Dwemer were all about, kind of in relation to the Numidium.
Well, we know that the Dwemer had a special racial ability or something called the calling, which meant that all of them could think or could like link their minds at the same time.
Really?
Yeah, and
that's
I remember Yagrum Bagan, I think he mentioned that when he came back from wherever the hell he left from, he just heard nothing and he was really freaked out by it.
What's it called? The calling?
Yeah, the calling. Yeah.
It's been theorized that is the device. They were using the calling, and that's why the whole race across the world were wiped out at the same time. They were all linked through the calling.
It's what I was saying was
Except Bagan.
Corpus was probably a perverted version of.
And Yagrum Bagan was in an outer realm, which, what was that? Like, just some Daedric realm, just some realm of oblivion, or...
I don't think it really matters. It's just that he was not
somewhere
present.
Else, not in Mundus.
You know, and even I can't remember who says it in the game, or if it was it might have been a developer quote. I can't remember. But you know, even the gods dislike absolutes in reference to Yagrum Bagarn. Maybe that was.
That sounds similar to
greater than themselves.
Sothasil's last words, because I think he mentions something about time, like an absolute, and that even gods don't like to talk about time because it stinks of something greater than themselves. I think that's the quote.
Yeah, it was Sothasil. It was in Sothasil's last words.
Yeah.
Okay, calling.
It could just be a device that they all had, or some special device built.
Walkie-talkie.
Dwarven cell phone?
Built somewhere. Yeah, Dwarven cell phone, if you will. I don't know. I mean, it's tonal architecture. Maybe they just... Maybe
is literally them calling each other up.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, I need some help here.
We already have the magic. We already have the magic internet. You'd think dwarves would have something just as good.
They may have used the Memo or the memory, the Dream Sleeve to talk, because apparently that can be used as magic internet. I don't know.
They seem the kind to ignore the dreams. Well, I mean, like with their complaints, with their denial of subgradients, they would seem a bit odd about the Dream Sleeve, I would imagine.
Well, I personally think they wanted to pick apart everything. They wanted to know everything. So, I mean, why wouldn't they just pick apart the Dream Sleeve or try to figure it out?
Yeah, I don't see them. Like, I think it's perfectly reasonable to say that even though that they deny the world and everything, I wouldn't put it past them to still take advantage of tools available to them. You know, that doesn't necessarily have to mean that they venerate or respect it, but
yeah,
you know, if it gets the job done, it gets the job done. You know, and that's just logical thinking, which it's been said that they worship gods of logic and theory. I believe it's those two.
Reasoning, reason, yeah.
Yeah, logic and reason, right? Yeah. So I don't think. I think if they wanted to use the Dream Sleeve, I don't see them really having any problem with it.
No, yeah.
It just wouldn't be a religious experience for them.
Yeah. Or the calling could be a magic spell like message. Who knows? Maybe it's just like a cast message. But I doubt it. I mean, the calling sounds like it could easily be linked to the Numidium as well. Maybe in that Kagernak links everyone to the Numidium, therefore they're all kind of like interconnected with each other.
What if it's like timey-wimey? They're connecting to Numidium that's already made in the future.
Already in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that, but like causality is sort of irrelevant when Numidium's around. Yeah, but
yeah.
But Numidium's creation caused. Okay, so you're saying like the calling might be just the Numidium making everything one in the future.
Right.
Sort of.
And they're tapping into that future state, and therefore they can talk as like a hive mind.
As one being.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think the calling has been around with the Dwemer like since they've been around. I think that it came at a certain point, possibly before the inception of Numidium or at the inception of Numidium. It's unclear when they discovered the heart, or when they.
Well, yeah. Even then, you know, just if we're going by my, you know, half-assed theory that I just pulled out of my ass, that doesn't necessarily have to mean that the race always had the use of the calling. They could still have stumbled upon it only 5 years prior to the Battle of Red Mountain. So I don't think that's necessarily a problem, but I just find the idea of it kind of cool.
Yeah, but where was that thing on? I gotta find that. There's something that MK talked about the Dwemer and their religion or their religious beliefs, and he called it what was it? Navel gazing. It was
heroic abrogation of everything.
No.
Oh, here. It's yeah. It's some words. The Dwemer are special in their views. If one could misinterpret the name of their religion, they were said to be pious. One might name it Negalithic, Refusatronic, World Naval Gazinism.
Naval gazeism. Gazinism. Yeah, Gazinism.
Something.
Historically, the magical nature of learned frowns on monotheism with a hammer this big, it kind of like Mercati talk gets erased.
Let's see. Well, the Dwemer, I kind of like it because you could say they're atheists, and I guess that fits the definition, but not the spirit of it at all.
Right.
In the sense that they know that there are gods, they just don't think they're gods,
Right.
They refuse the idea that they are somehow inherently better.
Yeah, they're like realities of falsehoods, therefore we must figure out the truth of reality, possibly. Like what actually because what we're seeing is an illusion. We have to pick it apart until we can find the true meaning of it. So it's kind of nihilistic in that they want to pick it apart and remove it and study it, but because they want to find a truth to it. I don't know.
Okie doke.
All right. Well, I don't know. Do you think we've covered everything?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
I guess we could start talking about random other stuff, but I don't see why we want to deviate too
Yeah. I gotta get going here in a bit.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I think we're good. We're done.
All right.
Next week, of course, is the CodaCast. So I think we're gonna have it ready for Valentine's Day. Either that, or we're doing it the day after, and you guys will just have to deal. That is it. And until next time, we have been the Selective Lorecast.
Bye-bye.
Bye.